We have a special show live from Los Angeles. This is Talk 2. I'm Jim Rome. We're talking basketball tonight. We are joined by the Rookie of the Year in the NBA for this past season, also a member of Michigan's Fab Five. Of course, I'm talking about Chris Webber. Chris, great to have you in Southern California.
Thank you for having me here. I'm enjoying myself.
It's good. It's good to have you. Why don't we start first? How about the NBA? Draft day, June of 1993. You're the first player taken overall in the draft. Welcome back. Coming to you live from Los Angeles. This is Talk 2. Talking to Chris Webber. Chris, we talked about the contract, 15 years, $74 million, but there's a one-year out clause in the contract. So technically, right now, you're a restricted free agent. Has anybody called you? Are there any offers forthcoming?
There's been a couple of offers. I think rumors were started maybe by our team, the Warriors, that I had signed again, and I haven't. Or, you know, I was going to sign with the Warriors. That's not positive right now. You know, I'm looking at a lot of offers. I was real interested in Detroit myself because that's where I'm from. I love to go home and play with my family, but I think that's out of the picture. I would love to play and go.
We are coming to you live from Los Angeles. The program's called Talk 2. I'm Jim Rome. Tonight we're talking basketball with Chris Webber. So Chris, you go to Michigan, Fab Five, all coming at the exact same time. Greatest recruiting class ever, and they were all right there. Was there any doubt in your mind that you would leave Michigan without a championship ring, at least one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the beginning, our freshman year, we didn't know how good we were. We knew it, but we didn't realize it. I mean, it was like, you know, before the season, I remember going into the dorm room with Jalen and saying, okay, we're going to lose this one, but we're going to win this one. You know, just seeing where we could go. And, you know, it came down to about 3 losses. And then that's when I really realized that, hey, we can do this. And what was funny was Coach Fisher, in the beginning of the year, said, you know, guys, we're going to have a tough year. You know, this is what I want you to do. He wrote out this thing, you know, we're going to work harder than ever. So after 4 weeks, it was the worst condition I've ever been in. It was the best of my life I've ever been in shape. And I was just feeling good and, you know, unstoppable. And he comes in, he says, okay, our goal now that, you know, preseason over is to make the NCAA final. And that's when, you know, what was funny is in unison, really. Everybody was like, nah, we're going to win the championship this year. He said, that's what you want to say? I said, yeah. He said, lead a meeting. And then that's when we really realized that we could do something.
Day one in practice, the 5 freshmen came in, challenged all the vets, all the upperclassmen to a game, pickup games. What happened?
we destroyed them, I guess. I mean, a lot of the guys, a lot of guys have been there a while, but, you know, Eric Riley really held his own. He really made me a better player. But the other guys, you know, we really just came in confident, and we had worked so hard during the summer. See, a lot of guys in college stopped working during the summer. I mean, during the summer, I mean, with our AAU teams with Jalen, we used to have practice, and we would spend the night in the gym, wake up at 2, practice, go to sleep, wake up at 5 and practice. I mean, this is really work, you know. And we just came in thinking, like, I've worked too hard. You know, here we have guys that's been on vacation who are rich, guys, you know, who've been here and there. I had never been on a vacation until I got to college and they took me somewhere. So I was saying, while you were on vacation, I was practicing. While you were doing this, I was practicing. And we came in and I think we really just meshed. And then the older guys saw that we weren't just talking the game. You know, we were walking the walk, I guess. And they just joined right in and it was successful.
I know it's one thing to school these guys in the first practice, but about halfway through that freshman year, starting 5 for the Fab Five just took over. You got the playing time, you had all the quality minutes. It was all of a sudden your team. How much animosity and resentment were there from the veterans when the team became yours?
If there was any, we really didn't get to see it. I know a lot of older players that were there were hurt because they didn't start, but I think they knew in their heart that they didn't deserve to as far as who would help our team get to the championship. I think now if they look back and they see that we've gotten the 2 championships and that we did what we did, I think they would, you know, be sort of helpful with themselves. The only person I say that might have got a raw deal out of the Fab Five starting was Eric Riley, because he had been there, he led the Big Ten in blocks, he started as our center. Maybe his playing time is the only one you can question. Besides that, I think everything was done to the utmost.
You got your first real shot nationally against Duke. Now, in that game, you jammed on Christian Laettner. Nationally televised game, you got right in his face. He said, Laettner, you're weak, you have nothing. I dunked on you on national TV. How does that feel? And then you gave him the death stare the rest of the game.
But see, where I'm from, you know, people don't like Christian Laettner that much, you know. I was a big UNLV fan. Larry Johnson, I used to love Larry Johnson's game. Stacey Augmon, Greg Anthony, just how their unity and how they just were on the court. Anderson Hunt, and again, you know, my guys called me up saying, Duke's going to beat you, you know, Christian Laettner this, Christian Laettner that. And I love when my friends do that because it gets me ready for a game. And he was talking junk the whole game. And when we started to come back and I dunked on him, I had to let him know that, you know, yeah, you're older and you got all these accolades, but we freshmen are serious this year. Unfortunately, I never beat Duke in my career, but at least I got to talk to him a little bit.
They won that game in OT. It was at that point that the Fab Five showed that they could play, but you guys also showed that you could talk. There was a lot of trash, and there was a lot of smack. And then all of a sudden, the early reviews came in. These guys are obnoxious. They're egomaniacs. They're childish. And right now in the NBA, it's a big deal. They're trying to tone down the taunting. What do you think? Is all the trash and the smack bad for the game of basketball?
It's bad if you make it obvious. It's bad when it becomes outside of the game of basketball. I don't care if a guy plays naked. If that's part of his game and he's not doing it for any other reason except, you know, that's how he likes to play, then that's okay. I think it gets bad when guys are pointing and they know the TV's looking at them, so they're making faces and gestures. But most of the talking, trash talking, is to the players on your team. People really don't realize that. If you were on my team, I'd be like, oh, yeah, shake him. You got him, baby. Let's do this, you know. And I'm talking to you the whole time, but I'm making your man mad because, in other words, I'm disrespecting him. I'm telling you to take the ball to the basket. I'm telling you to score. I'm telling you to shoot as if he weren't there. That's my trash. That's the true sense of trash talking. Or smacking someone on the butt after you shoot on them or dunk on them or something. I think that's all okay.
And they want you to take what you learned on the playground and bring it to the floor and try to incorporate that into your game and bring it into a team. But they don't want you to take what you say on the playground and bring that over there. Is there any kind of hypocrisy in that?
I really don't think it's much for the playground either. I think the biggest trash talk I ever lived was Larry Bird. And I played against him, and I know he talked a lot of trash. I think good players just have that walk, that cockiness of, we're on the court, you know, I'm not a great person, I'm not this, I'm not that, but we're on the court, I'm trying to beat you. And I'm trying to mentally, you know, harm you, and I'm trying to get you to do whatever you can. I remember a game we played this year, I think it was against Seattle, and the guy I'm checking, you know, was killing me. So I'm like, okay. He killed me the first game. So the second game we came back, I'm like, okay, I know what to do. First quarter, he didn't take a shot. And I was like, man, what's wrong with your coach? You got to let you shoot the ball, man.
Who are we talking about here, Chris? Come on, who are we talking about
I was
here?
like, you know, shoot the ball more, man. You know, you can play. You in the league now. You better shoot the ball. How he going to tell you not to shoot? I'm saying this to him on the free throw line when someone else shooting the free throw. Next time down, I mean, he took 3 long J's, 2 air balls, and 1 brick. That's trash talking. That's successful. And I mean, if that's going to make me win by him missing those 3 shots, whereas maybe he just would have stayed in the box and got a rebound and taken someone from outside, then that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, let me ask you this. Talk about Larry Bird being a guy that could really trash talk. Now, when you look at the whole image of the Fab Five, we talked about this, the showboating image, egomaniacs, braggarts. If the Fab Five, Chris, was white, would there be that same image?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, not at all. I think when you have 5 guys, I think like UNLV got a bad rap for, or maybe why Duke was so successful. You know, Michigan is a great institution, but they never talk about that when it comes to Michigan because of the starters. At Duke, yeah, it's a great university. Michigan and Duke are the same. I mean, you know, you split them up. One's better in communication, one's better in art. They're the same, you know. It doesn't matter. And I think that when you have 5 guys, especially all from the inner city, none of us had money. None of us could have gone to college if it wasn't for basketball. And when you have that and you saw the dunking, I think it was really the dunking, the high-fiving, and the ball heads. And I think that once we started developing that, people didn't realize in order for me to get a dunk, I have to steal the ball. Or in order for me to throw oop to Jimmy, I had to dive on the floor and get the ball. Or in order to dunk like this, in order to run the fast pace we want to run, coach is making us run at 6:30 in the morning because we didn't make our time last night. The work ethic, I think the showtime led away from the work ethic.
All right, so you've got the jam. Welcome back. Talking basketball. Chris Webber. 2 years at Michigan. All sorts of memories from the NCAA tournament. 1992, second year. You get back to the Final Four and you're playing Kentucky. It's a game that nobody will ever forget. Let's go to it. Pick it up at 72-69. 46 seconds left in the game. Michigan calls timeout. You go to the huddle. In that huddle, Chris, did Coach Fisher say, we have no timeouts left?
I don't remember, but I know he's a good coach, so I would bet, you know, my life that he did. I should have known that. It was just something, even if he didn't say it, I should have known. I should have asked it, and, you know, that's just something I regret.
That's the North Carolina game. We'll talk about that in a second, but you get 25 seconds left in the game. You're down by a bucket. They miss the front end of a one-on-one. You get the rebound, and you're about to go up the floor. You're down by a bucket, 25 seconds to go. What are you thinking when you bring the ball back up?
North Carolina game. I'm thinking I need to get the ball to my point guard. I look at Jay. I was going to pass to him, but I saw my man right there. Could have taken it. I think we could have scored. I see Rob Pelinka open up top for the three with Jimmy in the bottom. I think it was just the fact that I think on instincts. And I think that's why I've been successful in basketball, just my instincts. Pump fakes or passing, whatever. And I think that my instincts just failed me. Hey, you don't have any more timeouts. So that's something that'll stay with me for a while. But, you know, I'm more than 20 seconds of a man or a basketball player. So I look at it as, hey, I took a big downfall, but I like, you know, overcoming obstacles, and I just got to get used to stuff like that.
In that corner, George Lynch and Derek Phelps double-teamed you. 12 seconds to go, and you called timeout, and as you pointed out, there were no timeouts left. Did somebody on the bench, Chris, yell timeout, call timeout?
No, I just should have known there was no timeouts left. I should have known that. I should have known it. I should have seen it. I should have felt it. I shouldn't have called a timeout. Whether my mother was on this bench saying, baby, call a timeout, I should have known there was no timeouts left.
So in other words, somebody probably said it, but you're just taking responsibility for it.
I should. I did it. You know, if I tell someone to shoot you, you know, they're the ones that did it. And so what would I tell them? You know, if someone told me that, I should not have done it. That was just a mistake. That was just something. I look at me being weak for a second. I should not have called that timeout.
You're going back to the huddle after that play. Perhaps the national championship went down the drain with that mistake. What are you saying to yourself, Chris?
I'm just asking, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying, God, why me? God, why me? I said that had to be 1,000 times. I just couldn't believe it. I looked up in the stands and I said, all these people are here watching us play, and this is me. It's happening to me. You know, you never imagine things happen like that to you until it's you know. I'd rather have it happen to someone else so I could be like, oh, don't worry about it, you know, not care. You know, the guys on my team were like, so what? You know, we lost it in a messed up way. That's the way it is. And it was just hard for me. It was hard for me. I just kept asking God, why me?
What's it been like to live with that memory, knowing that it was you?
It's okay. I mean, you know, it hurts that I made a mistake, but everybody makes mistakes, whether it's in the business world or whatever. And just something I got to live with, you know. We wouldn't have been there without me. We wouldn't have made it there without the team. It was a team thing. We lost together, and it was my fault. I apologize to the team. You know, I was crying. I apologized to the team, apologized to the coaches. And, you know, they really got mad at me for doing that. And that's just the way, you know, the ball bounces sometimes.
What if the team lost the game and you did not call a timeout, it was unavailable, and the team just lost? Would you have come back next season?
I really don't know. See, I think the Fab Five was getting so old. I think before people liked us, then they stopped liking us. And like, what are they going to come with next? And it was just a question of, you know, Jay and I can't even go into a store without people asking us this or doing that. And we had all just become bad people. You know, all of a sudden this dark cloud was over us that all 5 of these guys are bad. They probably don't go to class. You know, coach doesn't make them do anything. And no one really knew the reason, but all these things were coming on. And so it was time for me to go because I had to let me be me and let my team be them. Let Coach Fisher be the man that he is and not the clown that people, you know, say, you know, well, he's non-disciplined. Let Jalen be the leader that he is and people say he's a follower. Let Juwan and Jimmy and Ray do the things that they do. Because, you know, I wasn't the leader of the Fab Five. Or maybe on the court, you know, I was the most into it or telling guys let's go or trying to demand things out the players on our team. But off the court, you know, I was always the one in the back laughing and watching them.
Who was the leader, Chris, if you weren't?
I think we all were in our own right. I mean, I think we all just gave different parts of it. But, you know, one thing about Michigan is that I'll never regret going there. Coach Fisher is still a friend of mine today. And, you know, I love the Fab, you know, the other guys like they're my brothers. So everything that people saw on that end, how close we are, that's not fake. You know, I love them like my brothers.
Talking to Chris Webber. When we come back, you will be also. It's toll-free across America. Phone calls are next. 1-800-98-TALK-2.
Both in the U.S. and worldwide.
We are going right to the phones in Atlantic City. Al, you're on Talk 2 with Chris Webber.
What's going on, Rome? Great show.
Thank you.
Phenomenal rookie season, Chris.
Thank you very much.
I got 2 questions for you really quick. In college, who was a bigger challenge to play against, Christian Laettner or Eric Montross? And now that Jalen and Juwan will be joining you in the pros, which of you three will be talking the most smack?
Well, first question, I think Chris Laettner was definitely the best player. I mean, he's one of the best players, I think, to come through college in a while. He was shooting in three. If you fouled him, that was automatic. You don't want to foul. That was the first thing we learned. And he was just a good player, 6'11", and he knew how to win. And his cockiness really put him over the edge. His cockiness made him, I think, a much better player. And as far as me, Jalen, and Juwan, when we play them, I don't think we'll talk a lot. I just know I'm going to have to foul both of them hard one time.
and Jalen will be talking.
Oh, yeah, Jalen will.
All right, let's go to Arizona. Dave, you're on Talk 2 with Chris Webber.
Hey, Van Smack, how you doing?
Good.
Chris, you've accomplished so much as a basketball player at Michigan. I was always wondering, you know, Michigan basketball has been second to Michigan football. Do you ever think that's going to change?
I don't think that ever will change. When you walk into the Michigan Stadium and see 100,000 people, you know, 108,000, the record set every Saturday, it's nothing like it. I've never been in any situation that great besides a Michigan football game, whether it's the guys running out the tunnel or watching Tyrone Wheatley or Desmond Howard play or just that tradition. I don't think it'll ever pass football, but I don't know if that's the way it should be.
All right, we're going to come back. One more segment with Chris Webber. That's coming up next. It's good to be with you on a Friday night. This is The Deuce. All right, welcome back. Talking with Chris Webber. Chris, I should say, you learned early on you've got to give back to the community. You've always been very active in the community. And in the East Oakland area, you've developed your own foundation, the Chris Webber Foundation. What's that do?
Well, actually, that's in Detroit, where we work with the Chris Webber and Time Out. I just have, you know, branches in East Oakland. I think, you know, it's my obligation to, number one, help Detroit, because that's where I'm from. And number two, whatever town, you know, people are paying to watch me play, and that's where I need to pay back to. So both in the Oakland and Detroit area, I really want to make a big difference in the inner city.
How about the Time Out Foundation? How did the idea come up?
Well, called Time Out, and my mother called me, and, you know, she's a teacher, and she was always on my back about school, and she was saying, well, God's giving you a chance right now through your adversity to help some people and shed light. So through that organization, we started a scholarship at University of Michigan with Nike, and we're doing a lot of things, you know, on the holidays and Christmases. We're just trying to help people out, because when I was younger and I didn't have the money, it was guys like Magic's foundation and Isaiah's foundation in Detroit that paved parks for me to play and really helped me out in school.
In fact, if you want to get involved, if you're watching right now and you want to give back to the Chris Webber Foundation, this is how you do it. You can write to that address. It will set you up and give you more information about that. Year number 1, Rookie of the Year. Huge career ahead of you. Chris, great having you out here in Southern California. Great to have you on Talk 2. We got to do it again real soon.
Thanks for having me.
Great time, Chris.
Thanks
Good
a
luck
lot.
to you, all right?
All right.
All right. Good to have you. Monday is going to be big here on The Deuce. Don't miss it. Talk some football with Merlin Olsen and Tony Tarasco, a little baseball, the Atlanta Braves outfielder. All right, that is it. Have a tremendous weekend. Great to have you here on The Deuce, and we will see you Monday night. Good night, everybody. Hi there. We begin with golf.